Today on Rappler, Taiwan says satellite records show the fishermen shot by Coast Guards did not enter Philippine waters.
Malinaw ang pahiwatig natin ngayon sa buong mundo. Ang sa Pilipinas ay sa Pilipinas at kaya nating pumalag at ipagtanggol ang sarili tuwing may sisindak sa atin sa loob mismo ng ating bakuran.
President Aquino announces a 75 billion peso military upgrade to boost the Philippines' maritime defenses.
They had three kinds of lists. The first list was people who were already their supporters. The second list was people who are for the opponents. And the third one were loyalty votes of the opponents.
And Camarines Sur Representative Leni Robredo says her rival used three systematic methods of vote buying. Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. Taiwan says satellite records dispute the Philippines' claim that the fishermen shot by Coast Guards illegally entered Philippine waters. On Tuesday, Taiwan releases a satellite record of the route of the Taiwanese boat that shows the fisherman was within Taiwan's exclusive economic zone. Taiwanese authorities say the ship was positioned at 122 degrees and 55 minutes east and 19 degrees and 59 minutes north when it was attacked. The economic zones claimed by each country overlap. Earlier, Philippine Coast Guard say the boat intruded into the Philippines' territorial waters and tried to ram their vessel, forcing them to open fire. Taiwan's fisheries agency says the Philippines should release the video records from the Coast Guard boat that allegedly support the Philippines' claim. But Justice Secretary Laila de Lima says the video will be released, quote, in due time, as part of the report of the National Bureau of Investigation. De Lima says the NBI team is waiting for clearance to go to Taiwan and ask for a re-autopsy of the body. She adds the video is, quote, revealing and helpful to the investigation. Manila Economic and Cultural Office Chairman Amadeo Perez says the Philippines is doing everything to protect its workers in Taiwan after reports of attacks against Filipinos because of tensions between the two countries. In a television interview Tuesday, Perez says the killing of the Taiwanese fishermen caused damage and tension for the 90,000 OFWs in Taiwan. He adds, "We're moving heaven and earth to fix these things. There's only one at fault, but thousands are suffering." President Benigno Aquino announces a 75 billion peso military upgrade to help defend the Philippines' maritime territory against, quote, bullies. In a speech marking the Navy's 115th anniversary, Aquino says the armed forces will be given the resources to protect Philippine sovereignty.
Malinaw ang pahiwatig natin ngayon sa buong mundo. Ang sa Pilipinas ay sa Pilipinas at kaya nating pumalag at ipagtanggol ang sarili tuwing may sisindak sa atin sa loob mismo ng ating bakuran.
Aquino says by 2017, the Philippines will add 2 new frigates, 2 helicopters capable of anti-submarine warfare, 3 vessels for coastal patrols, and 8 amphibious assault vehicles. The announcement comes on the same day the Philippines filed a protest against China over the, quote, illegal and provocative presence of Chinese vessels at a Filipino-claimed shoal in the disputed South China Sea. Foreign Affairs spokesman Raul Hernandez says the intrusions and the activities in our waters is part of the Chinese projection of their claim, which we believe is excessive and in violation of international law. Commission on Elections Chair Sixto Brillantes says the compact flashcards used in the midterm polls may have been corrupted to delay the transmission of results. On Tuesday, Brillantes says the poll body found damaged CF cards. COMELEC is looking into the possibilities the CF cards may have already been defective when supplied by Smartmatic International Corporation, or the cards may have been deliberately destroyed by some individuals to corrupt the data. The CF cards contain the encrypted election results transmitted to COMELEC servers. When PCOS machines are unable to transmit results, election inspectors may take the CF card out and bring it to municipal canvassing centers where it can be read. Brillantes says some individuals may have damaged the CF cards to manipulate the results. Brillantes warns those who will be found responsible, quote, "If you destroyed the CF cards, that's actually destroying an election paraphernalia. It will fall under election offense." A senior official of the Liberal Party tells Rappler the next Senate president will most likely be Team Pinoy campaign manager, Senator Franklin Drilon. The official says negotiations between Drilon and individual senators start Tuesday, although Drilon has yet to talk to President Aquino. The LP source says the numbers are in favor of Drilon's leadership to replace Senate President Juan Ponce Enrile. 12 of his colleagues are expected to vote for Drilon. A minimum of 13 votes in the 24-person chamber are needed to elect a new Senate president. The LP source says the votes for Drilon could be as wide as 18-6 or as narrow as 13-11. Congresswoman-elect Leni Robredo says her rivals employed 3 methods of vote buying in Camarines Sur. Robredo won against Nelly Villafuerte, member of the political clan that ruled the region since 1978. 3 days before the midterm polls, Robredo filed disqualification cases against the Villafuertes for alleged vote buying. She says she was shocked at the scale of systematic vote buying.
They had 3 kinds of lists. The first list was people who were already their supporters. They would still be bought so that they won't change allegiances. The second list was people who are for the opponent. They would buy them in bigger amounts so that they called it vote conversion, so that they would change sides. And the third one were loyalty votes of the opponents. They would buy in bigger amounts, and they would just ask that they do not vote at all. And they were doing this in a very systematic manner.
Robredo says she will pursue the case despite warnings from her supporters. Leni, the widow of much-loved Naga City Mayor Jessie Robredo, says she chose a bottom-up approach to organizing for the elections.
My husband organized the basic sectors, but not just during the campaign, but these basic sectors are actually empowered working sectors. And those who will emerge from them, those will be the leaders. So the organization was from ground to top.
Before running for public office, Robredo was a community organizer. She says it's important to understand the needs of a community before giving them help. She says people look for a connection to their elected officials.
I think politicians do not exactly understand that money is not the biggest motivational factor for people to vote for them. All my meetings were done in street corners under the tree inside houses. I had small meetings, but I was very diligent. I worked very hard. I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning and ended my day at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, only to wake up again at 5, going around, making sure that I visit every sitio, every barangay, every zone. I think people are more concerned with how personal their relationship would be to the candidate. It is not really that important if they get something. What they need is hope. Everyone has my cell phone number. Everyone can text me anytime. Everyone can visit me anytime.
Robredo comments on the way power works in the Philippines.
Both my husband and I always looked at power as a means of changing a lot of things. But you know, power also diminishes character. When power gives you so many privileges, you become attached to it, and you already use it for personal gains. I guess it's what...
You can watch the full interview on www.rappler.com. The United Nationalist Alliance, UNA, says it will continue its role as a constructive partner of the administration. In a statement Wednesday, the opposition coalition congratulates the winners of the midterm polls, but says it will continue offering alternatives to the administration to ensure that economic growth trickles down. Only 3 una bets, Nancy Binay, JV Ejercito, and Gringo Anasan, won in the polls. The coalition adds, "Rest assured that our senators shall stay true to our principles of being responsible fiscalizers and constructive partners in nation building." In its statement, UNA also raises issues about the conduct of the midterm polls, citing the slow transmission of election results and the early proclamation of the top 6 Senate bets. Experts say the 3-kilometer-wide tornado that swept through an Oklahoma City suburb is a rarity. Meteorologists say tornadoes rarely reach the size and brutality of Monday's twister. A weather official says the tornado was a top category EF5 system with winds over 321 kilometers per hour. Revising a previous higher death toll, local officials on Tuesday say at least 24 people, including 9 children, died in the disaster. Well, let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 4, voting 13-5, a U.S. Senate panel backs the immigration bill, which offers citizenship to millions of illegal immigrants living in the U.S. This follows the withdrawal of a plan allowing people to sponsor same-sex partners for permanent legal status. The bill is widely seen as the biggest overhaul of U.S. immigration policy in more than a quarter of a century. The full Senate will now debate the proposal next month. At number 7, Abenomics, or the Economic Survival Plan for Japan, needs a boost from Womenomics, a set of measures aimed at closing the gender gap in the Japanese workforce. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe says women in Japan are the most underutilized resources, with about 70% of Japanese women giving in to cultural pressure to leave the workforce after having a child. The International Monetary Fund forecasts Japan's population will shrink by 30% by 2055, with the population getting older and workers who pay for the pensioners getting smaller. And at number 10, 30 years after French researchers discover AIDS, the cure remains out of reach. But in a 3-day conference in Paris, big names in medicine are set to give an upbeat assessment of the war on AIDS. Scientists will pay tribute to the astonishing success of AIDS drugs and highlight steps being taken towards a cure. Since its discovery in 1983, AIDS has killed an estimated 30 million people. Roughly 34 million people are infected with HIV worldwide, and about 1.8 million die every year. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. As you know, every story on Rappler has a mood meter, which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click how you feel and your vote comes down to the Mood Navigator that's in the middle of the front page, and it crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories that have affected our readers the most over the last 24 hours. These 10 stories have gotten the most number of votes on their mood meter. If we take a look, we see Taiwan data recorder rejects the Philippine claim. You see 45% annoyed, 35% angry, but a majority, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stories are still on the elections, and you can see the overwhelming emotion that's coming out as the results continue. You see Cheese, poorest senator, Villar still the richest, 43% annoyed. And the story that's gotten the most number of votes on the mood meter is still #PHVote with Nancy Binay, a whopping 74% annoyed. That purple giving the color of the day. Today, most people are annoyed. Well, that's Rappler's Newscast for today, Wednesday, May 22, 2013. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.